So just to get started over here, my name is Kevin Kerr. I'm the marketing manager for Storage Commander software. Carmelo, do you want to do a little brief
Sure.
introduction?
My name's Carmelo Mannino. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO of STOW IT, where we are an online rental marketplace, and we're just formed our partnership with Storage Commander. So thank you for having us and for letting us be a part of this webinar. And looking forward to working together with you guys at Storage Commander and of course facility operators around the country.
Awesome. And this is going to be a short webinar. I think we're just going to keep it to like 15-20 minutes, just casual. So if you have any questions during the presentation, we'll have a little Q&A at the end so we can answer anything that you might have. Besides that, we also have our contact information at the end, and this is being recorded, so we'll send out a recording to all the attendees as well. So
Of course.
I'm going to duck out of the video thumbnail and let Carmelo kind of take this, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, thank you all for attending. Today, what I want to do is tell you more about STOW IT, more about what we do, how we work with operators around the country, and see, if we could be a help to any of you as well. So, my name is Carmelo Mannino. Like I said, I'm one of the founders of STOW IT. This is my contact information. We will also be on the final slide as well. So if you do see a way for us to work together, we'd love to chat with you. We're very personalized. We are a small team that really focuses on our property owners, on our facility owners, and giving you the best experience. So with that said, we've partnered recently with Storage Commander to help with marketing, specifically for their vehicle storage facilities. This includes anything on wheels. So we're looking at cars, boats, RVs. We have not opened up to stuff storage yet. We see that facility operators, specifically with vehicles and RVs, are kind of underserved, and SpareFoot just isn't cutting it these days. So that's one reason we decided to make STOW IT. Our goal is to give you more reach, which will then result hopefully in less vacancy. So with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. The problem with a lot of today's market with vehicle storage is that Google controls SEO. And post-COVID, more and more of storage is moving online as well. So if you can't facilitate those great Google rankings, you're not going to be discovered by customers. If you Google search something like RV storage in Denver, Colorado, you'll see STOW IT. We are able to climb those rankings really fast through a variety of proprietary methods that we have to get more visibility. Vacancies cost you money, right? You still have a lot of the same overhead every month, and you don't get a full return on your investment if you still have vacant spaces. The current solution, SpareFoot, is a bidding war, and a lot of times you're going to lose money on SpareFoot. If you've worked with them, you've probably experienced some of the frustration where maybe someone books and they don't even stay for 2 months, so you end up losing money, or they don't show up because they haven't paid for anything. So then they show up, SpareFoot sends you a bill at the end of the month. You have to contact SpareFoot and reconcile that. And then everything is moving digital. It's really hard to keep up with today's moving landscape, to make sure that your website is mobile friendly, and to make sure that you're showing up on Google and you're showing up ahead of SpareFoot. That's one reason we created STOW IT. So STOW IT is an online marketplace that connects vacant spaces with vehicle storage. So this includes everything. A large part of our business is working with individuals, right? People that have a 1 to 2 car garage. We'll actually help them as well, but the large majority of our business is business to consumer. So that's everything from warehouses to more specifically vehicle facility operators that have a storage yard for RVs, boats, cars, semi-trucks even. We act as a middleman online marketing resource to help you fill those vacant spaces. Some of the benefits of working with us is we're another place to get your name out there. We give you a larger web presence. We get tens of thousands of people showing up to our site every month looking for vehicle storage specifically. There's no long-term commitment with us. We don't lock you in terms of a certain number of spaces or a certain time commitment as well. Most of our operators list their spaces with us, and when they fill up or when they feel like they're going to fill the rest, they can always pause. There's no long-term commitment with us. It's really on a per renter basis with us. And we charge a flat rate, and that's going to be 1 month's rent. So when we fill your space, we take that first month's rent, whether it's $68.35 or $105, that's all you're going to pay. It's not a bidding system. As I'll kind of share, we're location based. We don't just give the top listings to whoever pays the most, which is definitely a negative part of most aggregators. It's hard for smaller operations to compete with the REITs that have really deep pockets and can afford to lose 2 to 3 months rent on a new customer. This is one of our success stories. So this is a company called Route 52 Storage. They're based in Fort Lupton, Colorado, and they have about 6 different size spaces that they list with us. Like this one, for example, is 40 to 45 feet, a pull-through space. And this is what their listings kind of look like on our website. So when a consumer signs on, they go to stowit.com, they find us, whether it's from Google or an ad or Facebook or Craigslist, however they get to our site. They search Fort Lupton, these are going to show up. So they've actually got 6 different listings, which gives them much more visibility as well. And then they've got this little button that says instant book, because they've already given us their criteria. So there's really not a lot of management that goes on. So if a user clicks into their listing, this is what they see. And this is all customized by facility. We can create an infinite number of spaces for you so that you get more and more listings on our site. They have up to 3 photos of the spaces as well. They send us these photos. We help a lot with that setup process to ensure that you're set up for success. It's instant book, which means that some of our spots are not instant book and people have to confirm them, but with facilities it's much more beneficial to do that instant book so that there's just less management of it. The consumer will go on, they'll pick their check-in dates, their checkout dates, or say month to month, and it's going to show them the final price. So this example, Route 52, they charge $65 a month for this price. So when the renter books it, they know already how much the space is going to be. So when they show up at your facility, there's really no guesswork, and they're not surprised with anything as well, which makes for a great experience. One other thing, they don't allow cars, like smaller vehicles here. So you still control what you allow and what you don't allow. So you still have total control over your space. Our job is to go out and find you the perfect renter for your space. When Route 52 gets the renter, or when you start working with us and you start getting renters, this is what you will see. It's going to be a congratulations email from us saying a new renter has booked through STOW IT. And it's going to give you a lot of information on that renter so that you can enter them into your system. The renter also gets a similar email that tells them to show up with the proper documents as well. And when they show up, they've already paid the first month's rent as well. So you can know, 1, the individual is going to show up, 2, they've already paid the first month's rent. So here's some of the information. Of course, you get name, you get rental dates, phone number, email, the item, the spot that they reserved. It's up to you where you want to actually place them. And spot 68C, if that's the spot, that's the spot. It's going to be more general of what size vehicle they have and the amount paid. And then this additional agreements, I know it's kind of small, that's going to say, this renter has agreed to bring proof of insurance, registration, their license, payment information when they check in at the facility. Every renter, when they book, they also check a box, multiple boxes in that checkout process that says, I've got proof of insurance, I'm going to bring the registration, I'm going to bring payment information. So they show up hopefully as a knowledgeable renter. And this email can be sent to any number of members on your team. The main point of contact will also get a text message, but this can be sent to an info account, or it can be sent to multiple managers or to all employees as well, so that everybody sees this and everyone's up to date on this information. The process is really simple. You choose the available spaces that you want to list with us. If you're full on your 20 to 25 foot spaces, but you need help filling your 40 to 50 foot spaces, that's fine with us. There's no real requirements in terms of what spaces you have to give us. You tell STOW IT the rates, the monthly rates down, including the taxes, everything, and you enforce your rules. So if you don't allow vehicles to be towed in, for example, or if you don't allow cars, for example, we will put all of that in the listing to automatically filter out the individuals that don't meet your criteria. What we do on our side is we market your space in a variety of spaces, including our website, but we also use Craigslist, Facebook, we pay for Google ads. We build landing pages for different categories of vehicle storage on our site. So we're always trying to get more eyeballs on your space. When we book a renter, we collect the first month's payment. There is no monthly fee. There is no hidden cost. It is literally that first month's payment. The renter pays us. You really don't pay us. The thing you're losing is kind of that first month's rent, but you're getting a long-term customer. And then we pass that renter to your facility. So when they show up that first time, they are going to have your facility address, have the phone number, already know to bring the information, and they become your customer. So you will still handle, the evictions and all the payments beyond that first month. Our fee is just that, what I mentioned, 1 month's rent per customer. And this is, customers that sign up and that book. So no hidden costs, no auction system, no 1.5 months rent, 2 months rent, anything like that. Just a flat 1 month's rent. So this is how we differ a bit from SpareFoot. SpareFoot I think has done a good job on 5x5s, 5x10s, but the vehicle storage makes up less than 5% of their searches and their revenues. Our search type is location based. So for example, that facility in Fort Lupton, if someone searched that zip code or searched Fort Lupton, they are going to show up. It's not going to be, oh, we're going to show whoever bid the most in an area around Fort Lupton. It is truly 100% location based. There is no bidding system. SpareFoot is auction based, which helps a lot of the large players but can hurt smaller operations. The payments, we collect the customer payment up front. So the customer actually does enter their credit card info and they are billed for that spot already right up front instantly. By the time we send you that email, it's going to say that customer has paid. If their payment fails, they don't get the spot and they have to reach out to us. SpareFoot's going to be invoice you afterwards, right? So what happens, of course, is a lot of people say they're going to book a spot, they never show up. SpareFoot assumes they show up, they send you the invoice, and then you have to call SpareFoot and go through this long, lengthy process of saying this person never moved in. Our specialty is vehicle storage. That's really the only thing we focus on, and that's anything on wheels. So RVs, boats, cars, semi-trucks, small trailers, anything that has wheels, we will store. SpareFoot mainly focuses on stuff storage. The benefit of the vehicle storage, as many of you know, is people tend to pay. They tend to pay on time. They have higher priced rentals. They have higher priced assets as well. And then we provide additional marketing at no fee as well. So we do a lot of Google ads every month. We have virtual assistants that post weekly on Craigslist. So like that Fort Lupton space, for example, is being posted every Wednesday on Craigslist and it's being refreshed. So it always shows up towards the top. We also do things like Facebook ads, landing pages, a lot of SEO work as well. Whereas SpareFoot really just advertises, their site or their listings on their site. So we can bring you renters from different marketing channels and different avenues. So all of our renters show up, and this is based on, several thousand renters that we've done. Our renters pay in advance, right? So that's a big differentiating factor. That renter is going to show up. There's not going to be any of those renters that say they're going to book and then don't show up. Renters are shown, hey, we're going to bill you. There's not going to be a refund with this. You absolutely will have this space for 1 month. So that means that they're going to show up. So your facility managers can really bank on them showing up and calling in advance and making sure that they become your customer on their check-in date. This is another success story that we've had. Bob Weiss is this individual's owner name. He owns Hastings Boat and RV Storage. They're a pretty small facility in Hastings, Minnesota. He doesn't even have a website. I think he does have a Google listing. Sorry, I know the photos are it's kind of blown up, a little pixelated, but Bob lists most of his spots that are under 28 feet with us. And as you can see, we wrote a description for him. Bob was about 90% full or so with his outdoor. But with his current marketing methods, a sign, a Google listing, he could not fill up those last 15 spaces. That's where he was struggling. So Bob approached us. We came in. We said, we are a great source to be an additional marketing benefit for you. There are no exclusives with us. The name of the game is fill up as fast as you can. So we recommend still doing your own Google ads, your own website, your own marketing, your own signs, right? We're going to be that additional resource. Within 3 months, we were able to get Bob about 15 renters, which filled him to 98% occupancy. What Bob now does is when customers move out, or if he has a large customer with multiple spots move out, he'll just go on to STOWit.com, he'll turn his spots on, or he can email or text us and say, hey, I have available spaces. All we need to do is click a button and he can throttle his spots on and off. The type of renters we get are vehicles. That's everything we do is targeted towards items on wheels. So we get RVs, boats, cars, trucks. We really filter out anyone that one wouldn't meet your criteria or doesn't meet our criteria. We do get a lot of calls from people trying to tow in or store junkers. We can easily filter those individuals out. The average length of stay is about 10 months. 10 months, excuse me. Obviously we see some seasonality with like RVs and some boats and stuff. We do see repeat renters on those, but our average is 10 months. And of course there's some that store for years and years. The setup with us, we like to think it's very easy. We ask for 3 photos. One of the gate and a few of where they would actually be parking to kind of showcase the facility. This also helps individuals. Of course, we know people don't really read, right? They're going to look at the photos to kind of get a general idea of what the facility is like. We ask for the pricing for it, and this is all a very customized setup. Myself or one of our employees would be working directly with you or with the managers of the facility to go over all this to ensure that everything is set up to your liking before we start marketing the spot. We work with you to build a short description of the space so that renters are knowledgeable about the space. They know what is allowed in terms of access. Is there security cameras? Are there gates? Is there staff on site before they ever book? And then we ask for contact information. And this is contact information of anyone that needs this information, because we can send out those booking emails and other emails to your whole team as well. So very customized setup. We're with you, helping you along the way. After a few renters, it becomes really easy, but we don't go anywhere. We're always available for our property owners. If you want to change part of your listing, if you want to update, if your prices change, anything of that nature, we're always available for you. You still control, it's your property, it's your rules. So that's what we like to say. You're going to still control your pricing, the requirements that a renter must meet, what type of items you take and in the vehicle types. So you'll still feel like you're in control. You're booking customers that you would take on your own, but still it's able to get you those customers because of our additional marketing benefits to just help you fill up faster. And that's kind of really the name of the game with STOW IT. And what we can do is we are an additional marketing platform for your facility to help you fill up faster. Thank you so much for listening. I definitely want to open it up to questions. This is my contact information. It's Carmelo@StowIt.com. We've got Kevin's contact information. You can contact us or Storage Commander. What will kind of end up happening is somebody from our team at STOW IT will reach out to you to discuss starting to work together, gather those photos, create your listing. That process takes an hour or so, if even. Most of it is you just emailing or telling us the stuff. We create the listing, send it to you for your approval, and then we're in business together. There's no cost until we start making you money. So thank you so much, and I'll open the floor now to questions.
Thanks, Carmelo. I really appreciate that. Got some questions over here that came in. Thank you for that. And if anyone else has any other questions, you can click the little chat thing at the bottom and type it in there. This first one, it's going to be from Sherry. What if they only need it for 1 month, or what if they need to cancel before moving in?
Yeah, so Sherry, we are very upfront on the cancel before move-in. If you want to offer that in a certain amount of time, we can set that up for you. Right, if they cancel within 48 hours, we charge them immediately. You know, even if they book a week in advance, so they've already paid. So if you know, and there's a very distinct box when they check that says you will have this spot. There may not be any refunds given. So we don't have that problem too often. But if you wanted to give refunds if they cancel within 48 hours or something like that, we definitely always can. You know, we have those funds. We can do that. And then for the first part, what we would do is, you know, we want to avoid those 1 month renters if we're taking the first month's rent. So we would put something in there that's like a 3-month minimum term or something like that when they book, to make sure that they are going to stay for longer than 1 month.
Awesome. Thank you. We have another one over here from Larry. Can you specify a minimum of rental months required?
Absolutely, Larry. Yes. So we would do that in the description, and then we are developing kind of an icon that will go on as well that will say minimum amount of months required as well. So yes, definitely we recommend that with our service, right? Because we're taking the first month. Most of our facility operators do say, you know, 3 or 6 month minimum rental requirement.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's see, another one. Why do you only allow for storage on wheels?
Right now, we see there's kind of a need in the market for storage on wheels. We feel like RV facilities and things do not have kind of an additional marketing platform, and they're being overshadowed by stuff storage, specifically with Google. It is something we're open to opening up in the future. We just have been focusing on wheels and vehicles. It's a higher rental price. We've seen less issues with it. We want to bring high quality customers, so we want to make sure people aren't storing and leaving, and we see that problem a lot less frequent with vehicles.
Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to say too, I think it's a very interesting business model because it shows that you believe in your product and services. Because if they click on the Google ads and you know, don't continue to the rental itself, I mean, technically STOW IT would lose money on that. So the fact that you kind of have that, you know, it's very interesting, and the fact that you have that 100% follow through, that's really great. So
yeah, you know, people value things they pay for, right? So
other thing I was going to say last week, because that actually kind of came up last week while I was at the ISS World Expo. I was doing a presentation on customer service, and one of the attendees actually asked me, because they were using reservations at the time, and they were having issues with customers reserving units and then not following through and basically taking up that spot. So I guess that's really the bigger defining factor, is that, you know, with these, they've already paid, they're going to come through. It's kind of like the online rentals with traditional self-storage. It's already said and done, whereas the reservations a lot of times don't take any payment.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have a higher chance of renting or reserving that space and then moving, deciding otherwise.
Right. Exactly.
I have another one from Larry over here. If STOW IT has multiple clients trading in the same area, how do we determine which client gets the lead?
So it's purely location based. You know, if there was another client in your area, we would work with them. Now, we have a few markets that are fairly developed where we have multiple clients, specifically like Denver, Minneapolis, Dallas, Fort Worth, but there's still a lot of areas where, you know, many facility owners would be kind of the only option. So I think that's actually a benefit of us right now. But it's purely location based. So if they were a different zip code and the person searched that other zip code, they may show up first. But we see an average individual looks at about 3 to 4 listings on our site before they book. So chances are, if they were anywhere even near your zip code, they would see your listing, especially since for most facilities we create 3, 4, 5 listings on our website, one for each type of space. So you get a lot more visibility with that as well.
Interesting. Thank you. Sherry had a follow-up question. Can they make a reservation through STOW IT, and how far out? And is that parameter set by us?
So how far out, we could set that parameter. Most of our reservations, 90% of our reservations are to start within about 10 days of the booking. That's typically what we see. When people need storage, they typically need it now, right? They just got that HOA notice and they're trying to get it storage tomorrow, right? That's typically what we see. That makes up a large majority. So yes, they will make the reservation through STOW IT. So working with us, they will make the reservation through STOW IT. They will pay for the first month. Now, every operator needs, different vehicle information. So we don't collect things like VIN and other things like that, but we do tell the renter when they show up at the facility, they need to bring registration, proof of insurance, their vehicle, and their identification as well, so that when they are checking in at the facility, Sherry, the information that you all collect, they will have in hand, they will know to go ahead and bring for them, so that any information that we haven't captured, you can input into your system.
And to follow up from that, Sherry wanted to ask, so it is only a reservation, not an online rental?
They are paying for the first month for us. We don't plug into the software that you are using.
It's kind of interesting because I feel like it's a hybrid between reservation and rental, because usually during the reservations, you're not accepting payments. You're waiting for the customer, in traditional self-storage at least. You have them fill out and say that I would request this unit size or this particular unit, and they would come into the office to fill out the lease and make the payment later on. Whereas this one, it's kind of that in between where they're making that payment beforehand, but essentially they, nothing's in stone. So it's kind of
there's really two advantages to it. One, they've already paid, so they're going to show up and become customers. And two, we're not going to send you like an invoice at the end of the month that your accounting department has to review and say, did this person move in? Did they not move in? Because we've already collected the payment. So when that customer shows up and they're in your system and you've given them the 1 month and then started their billing, they're your customer and you don't have to tell us anything else about them.
That's interesting. Awesome. One other one is, so you mentioned Craigslist earlier. How does the Craigslist really work with the rentals?
Yeah, so we have a team of virtual assistants and staff on site that constantly post new ads every week to Craigslist. So if you were a facility in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we would constantly be posting your facility and your ads, directing them to STOW IT to book on the Tulsa specific parking and storage section of Craigslist. So it's an additional marketing benefit to get more eyeballs. Now Craigslist is, it's got its positives and negatives. Anybody that's used Craigslist can attest to that. We do filter a lot of those, and that's where a lot of like the 3-month minimums or no tow-ins allowed in the description helps. And then a lot of those individuals will call us as well. So we do have, a customer support team and staff on site where if they call and they say, hey, I know the ad says no working, but I just need to work a little bit on the inside, we will filter those out, right? All that is very transparent and upfront to the customer.
Awesome. Got 2 more questions real quick. Heather Sullivan, does the full move-in month to month need to be paid by tenant, or can they just pay prorate version, which is what our Storage Commander software would charge? For example, we'd want a full month payment on the 1st of the following month, regardless of what they've paid STOW IT. And I'm afraid that a new tenant have just paid a full month's rent to STOW IT a few days ago, they're going to be upset with the facility. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we do take that flat rate of 1 month. So like for Route 52, for example, what they do, if let's say a renter moved in tomorrow, right on the 22nd, we would bill a full month. So what they would do in August 22nd is that would be that prorated amount the next month. And then by September, they would be paying on the 1st. So we leave kind of that next prorated payment up to you.
And I think that can be filled out in the description as well, just kind of letting them know about the facility requirements at that time too. I don't personally feel like it would have any, negative repercussions on the tenant itself, even if that is kind of a unique billing situation, but as long as it's explained beforehand.
Yeah, typically the customers kind of understand they've booked on STOW IT and they're switching over to a facility. So I think they're not caught off guard because we're very transparent and upfront about, your next payments will be to the facility and you will need to follow their payment schedules.
Mm-hmm. What's actually interesting too that I think, and this is why I'm always behind STOW IT so much, I love how the company operates, because there's not a lot of marketing resources or resources in general specific to vehicle storage. And when you're trying to use mediums that are essentially made specifically for traditional storage, it's kind of like putting a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't flow as well. So when people are looking for vehicle storage, you tend to see a higher conversion rate when you're giving them the messaging that they're looking for, which is vehicle storage. So
yeah, 1 out of 40 households uses vehicle storage. It's a large part of the overall storage industry, and you're right. I mean, almost 100% of all marketing and aggregators is for stuff storage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even for that, comparing those statistics, it's something around 1 out of 10 households use traditional self-storage. So, it may be less, but that's still a very impressive number.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to buy an RV or a boat nowadays, or it was last year. COVID really accelerated the purchase of a lot of these toys.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. We had another follow-up from Sherry. So when we receive a notification from you that someone reserved a space and paid for the first month, we would move them in and essentially give them the first month free. Correct? Sorry for so many questions.
Correct.
Don't worry about the questions.
No, sure, you're fine. Yes, and that's why we're here. Definitely take down my contact info, because if you have questions, we can chat as well. But yes, that's exactly correct. When they move in, and on that email we'd send you and any of the managers or anyone at the facility that you deem needed that information, it would say, very clearly, this renter has paid their first month's rent, and the month to us is independent of days, right? So if they book today, it would be through August 20th that they've paid.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think that's all the questions that we had right now. So I just want to take a minute, thank everyone for coming for this webinar. And it was a short one, which, I got to be honest, I kind of like these shorter webinars a little more than trying to fit in all that for an hour. So thank you very much. Please feel free to contact either of us, Carmelo or myself, with the contact information on the screen. And we would be happy to discuss anything else if you have any other questions. Keep an eye out for your emails as well. We'll be recording this. Well, we did record this, so I'll be sending out a copy of that either this afternoon or tomorrow. Besides
if you contact us, we will absolutely reach out and give you a call and help you, through the setup process.
Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, I've worked with Carmelo and the rest of his team. They're very responsive, very fast. So any questions you might have, I'm positive we'd be happy to help. In the meantime, thank you all again, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Kevin.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.